Hi everyone, welcome to Barely Strong. Today we'll be discussing a few exercises to do to help with diastasis recti, which is split abdominals during pregnancy. We're going to be covering 4 exercises and one base technique that's really important as you do ab exercises during pregnancy to make sure you're doing them in a safe and effective way. The first one is called Transversus Abdominis activation. Your transversus abdominis is the deepest layer of your abdominal muscles, and the fibers run horizontally across your abdomen. And what they do is they function almost like a corset to increase the pressure around the abdominal region, around the lower back, to create stability for all of the structures in that area. And what you can do is do this in a lying position to really help you feel what's going on. And we'll demonstrate now. So what you'll do is you'll lie on your back and you'll use 2 fingers to feel the muscles just on the inside of the hip bone. So I can feel my hip bone poking out here. I'm going to come just inside of that to feel the muscles just next to it. And a good way to feel these muscles is to just exhale. So as you exhale, really hard until all of the air is forced out of your lungs, you should feel something pop up against your fingers or harden against your fingers. And that is your transversus abdominis, or your abdominal muscles in that region. So we'll do that again. We'll exhale, and you should feel that muscle pop out. And activating the transversus abdominis, I like to use the word bracing because it's almost as if you're bracing or putting a brace or corset around those abdominals to tighten that region. Some people use the term drawing in or hollowing the stomach, but if you look at the difference with bracing or exhaling until I feel that muscle bulge out, this is what that looks like. If I draw in, which is not the movement we want, I end up looking like this. So my stomach hollows, my ribs start to stick out, and I'm actually not creating any stability in that abdominal region at all. So as you practice activating your transversus abdominis, just start with an exhale. Feel the ribs flatten, and you should be able to see that in the video too. And just hold that for 5 to 10 seconds and then release. And you do it again. You exhale. Feel that stomach muscle pop out against your fingers, and you hold for 5 to 10 seconds. This is also a good technique to try out in combination with our neutral spine video. So once you've got your transversus abdominis activated, this is going to be the base to start with for every other abdominal exercise. So it's an important technique to be able to nail before you attempt anything else. Our second exercise is a crunch or a curl up, but assisted. So what that looks like is activating your transversus abdominis, making sure the ribs are flat against the stomach. So I've already created tension and stability there. I'm going to cross my arms over my abdomen and pull them together. This creates a little bit more external stability to help prevent the abdominals from splitting the other way. And as I exhale, I lift the top half of my body, but nothing changes in this region. So it's just the top half of the body lifting, feeling some tension in that abdominal region, pulling with those hands to add a bit of extra support. You can hold for 2 to 3 seconds and then release. And just one more as a reminder of the sequence. activate those abdominals so you feel tension in that abdominal region, making sure the ribs are flat, arms across, pull in with those hands, and then lift. Holding for 2 to 3 seconds and coming down. So that is our first safe exercise to do during pregnancy. Our next one is in sitting. So for this movement, you want to be sitting up high on those sitting bones with a nice open chest, and the movement is a pelvic tuck. And what that looks like is this. So the bottom half of the spine curls as your pelvis tucks under, and we're creating tension in those abdominals. Tuck, and then you slowly start to lower yourself down to a region where you're comfortable, but you're also challenged, so you can feel yourself working to be able to keep that position. And we can hold that here for 3 to 5 seconds, and then come up. So again, pelvic tuck, rounding that lower spine, trying to lower yourself to the mat, to a place where you're comfortable, but I can still feel those abdominals working, and we hold for 3 to 5 seconds, and then come up. So that is called a sitting roll down, and when you get really strong, you can roll all the way down to the mat, but as we progress through pregnancy, that probably will get a little bit more difficult as the belly gets bigger. Our next exercise is a modified plank. This is on your elbows and your knees. So elbows down, knees down. And what you're looking for in this position is not this. So my lower back is arching, my belly is hanging out, and I don't have any stability in that abdominal region or in that low back region. What I want to do is tuck the pelvis under slightly. I'm thinking about that transversus abdominis activation, or that bracing, as I also flatten my ribs. And you can see my belly button poking out because I am 18 weeks and I can no longer control it, but we're trying not to let that belly button poke out too much. And we hold this position. And what I want you to try not do is to slowly let everything drop. So we keep that pelvic tuck, we keep those abdominals braced, and we hold for 10, 20, 30 seconds, as long as you can while holding the correct form. So modified plank is a nice one to do, especially if you're struggling early on. If you are really strong and you can keep everything in position, you can also do a full plank hold. Here. Okay. Our last exercise is on all fours, with hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, and in this position we want to get into a neutral pelvis or neutral spine position. You can check out our video on neutral spine to see exactly how to do that. And once again, I'm thinking of bracing my abdominals. I'm not sucking them in or hollowing. I'm bracing. Think about flattening rather than sucking in, as I try to lift my belly button just a little bit so it doesn't stick out too much. And in this position, we go leg up to the ceiling, hips stay facing the mat, and we come back down. And the aim is to not shift from side to side, but to stay absolutely centered, for nothing to happen to the lower back, for all of this lovely positioning that we've been working on to stay where it is. If that's easy, you can add
an arm lift into a bird dog. So opposite arm and leg lift, while everything in that abdominal region stays in its proper and correct positioning. And you can do 8 to 10 of these, have a break, and then repeat another 8 to 10. But those are some safe exercises to do during pregnancy to strengthen the abdominals, never forgetting that base technique or that base exercise of activating deep abdominals, that transversus abdominis, before you do anything else after that. So keep this in mind as you do our workout videos on a week-by-week basis. If you haven't already, please subscribe to join our community. Check out some of our other videos, and we will see you again soon.